Gary, it's been a busy morning,
Yes.
news-wise. First of all, Richard's out for 4 weeks. How big a blow is that?
Well, it's not necessarily 4 weeks. I think what happens when somebody does a hamstring in particular, they try to bracket it in a certain time. But every individual's different and every injury's different. So, it's not... It's not. We're not actually specifying the amount of time, but it's a blow for him. It's a blow for us. The form that he's been in this season, I think it's a testament to his character, how he's been this season in comparison to, the what happened last season for not just him but the group as a whole, and how he's bounced back from day one of pre-season and how he's performed this season. He's a couple of games he's won us the games with crucial saves, and it's a blow for him. He doesn't like missing games. It's his first muscle injury that he's had in his career, he was saying. So we've got to be careful with him, because what we don't want to do is rush him back, and he aggravates it. That's the last thing we do, because we're only talking now, you're only 3.5 months left of the season, so we've got to be steady with him on that, but at the same time we want him back as soon as possible, because it provides the competition again. And it's been a tough 3-4 days, so there's an enormous amount of phone calls made, and we're over the moon that Kenny Jackett and Portsmouth have been so kind to us and so accommodating with him.
Yeah, Richard's frustration at the end of the game was obvious. How did he do it? It seemed quite innocuous.
Yeah, it was. They had a break, but that was offside, or it was a foul for certainly, and Rich just ran out to get the ball, and the lad kicked it past him just to delay time and waste time, and he just stuck his leg out to block that ball, and that's when it went. And like you say, he's never done a muscle injury before, so he thought he had cramp initially. So, it's a new one for him. But like you say, we're disappointed, but we've had to move on. We've had to move on quickly. A lot of work's gone into it. The phone has been mental the last 2 days, and it was. We were fortunate we got Luke over the line.
Yeah, what will Luke bring?
Well, he's got experience. He's had a fantastic upbringing, first and foremost, at Tottenham. And then he went and had a great year at Peterborough in League One. So he's got League One experience. And then he went and played for Portsmouth in League One. And he is used to playing in front of big crowds. And, I was tempted, and John Vaughan, the goalie coach, with the progress that George has made. But at the same time, we wanted to keep Sam Hornby at file, because he's having a run of games that he's never had at the level that he's at, so I think it's important that he keeps amassing games on his CV, and then it was just we just needed to get somebody in, and whether George was ready or not quite ready is for a big ask of a 19-year-old, but he's pushing very, very hard, and we needed to get one in, and we've managed to get an experienced one in.
Is that the toughest position to sort of find cover for, an experienced goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably easier to put a 19-year-old midfielder in, or a 19-year-old striker, a winger, or whatever in, than necessarily a goalkeeper, because unfortunately the position that it is, if they were to make a mistake, it ends up in the back of the net. Now, that's not to say an experienced goalkeeper doesn't make mistakes, but I think the progress that George has made, we're delighted with, and he's going the right way. He had a very successful loan at Guiseley, and in an ideal world, we'd like to get him out and Sam out and let him go and build gains, but obviously budget dictates with your size of your squad and what you can do with the goalkeepers. But George is going the right way, and we think a lot of him.
And have you spoken to George about it? You explained.
Yeah, no, I spoke to all of them yesterday when I knew that it was finally happening, that Luke was on his way. I gave them all a ring and just explained to them, so that they found out first hand off myself, not going across Sky Sports and ticker tape or or whispers like that. Just was honest with them and just said, look, you got to embrace the competition, and learn from Luke as well. I'm sure he'll learn from his experience here and working with the goalkeepers and vice versa.
And when Richard is back and available, that position is really strong for you.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Like I say, it's a very strong position that we have got covered now. Yeah.
Injury-wise, then, elsewhere, how are you? Who's back and available?
Let me see. Harry Pritchard's trained today, so that's good news. And he's, touch wood, he's had no problems with that. Clayton Donaldson's joined in today for the first time. So that's brilliant news, because he's been magnificent how he's been, and the fact that he's now back at this stage already is a credit to him, and just shows you what a fantastic professional he is, and you know how he's looked after himself, what he's done, and you know he follows the program to the T, and you know he will be important for us for the running for sure, and so like you say, you know, for us to be where we are and what we've done with him missing, with you know the likes of Shane McCartan missing, with Jamie Devitt who's had another good week's training, and we'll certainly come into contention for Saturday.
Yeah, you mentioned about getting minutes into Jamie. Did you manage to do that?
No, well, we had planned minutes, but unfortunately the weather at the beginning of the week put pay to that. But what we did is we did something different to physically test him even further. So he's come through that, and like I say, he goes back into the squad on Saturday. Who else have we got? Callum Cook's back now. He had the same thing that I had last week. So he came back in and trained on Tuesday, so he's fine. I think there's only Tyler French now who's just got a problem with his knee, and Zelly still with his calf.
Post-match on Saturday, obviously, your voice, it was difficult to get a true assessment of your thoughts of it. You said it wasn't good enough. What was behind that, do you think?
Our performance was behind it. I think, you know, the first half in particular, we were too sideways and backwards. We didn't really go and hurt the opposition enough. Second half, I thought we played forward more. We got the ball into the front a little bit better, and we got the ball out wide a little bit better. But then our final pass, we either dribbled it out of play or we kept it in the front man with the first cross, and we didn't do enough to really hurt the opposition. We brought them in again on Monday, went through it with them individually, collectively, and they're a brilliant group to work with because they're very honest, and I didn't have to really say a great deal, which at the time was good because I'm still recovering with my voice, but I was able to write stuff. So, you know, they know, they put their hands up, and listen, at the end of the day, they're only human. You know, I'm sure in your line of work you make a mistake every now and again, or don't have a great day at work, and that's exactly what it was last week. We just weren't good enough. We've accepted that, moved on, and their mindset and their attitude towards it this weekend has been really impressive this week, and we look forward to, you know, the challenge that Scunthorpe are going to bring.
Yeah, was that sort of the big thing you were looking for when you came in on Monday, Tuesday, that determination to put it right?
Well, I knew that would be the reaction anyway from them, because like I say, they're a great group to work with. When we've had a blip this season, you know, they've openly and admittedly put their hands up. They don't shirk the responsibility. You know, they're a confident group, and they still believe in, you know, what they're here to do and what they're trying to do, and that's important.
And Owen Doyle's return was obviously the big headline ahead of it.
Of course.
I guess it's difficult to sort of judge how he would fit in given the performance that you got on Saturday from everybody.
Well, he's fitted in like we expected him to fit in terms of how he's been about the place, especially today. Like, he's looked better again, and the situation is a unique situation, isn't it? It's not one that's happened very often, and the more time that obviously he's back amongst us, it just gets easier for him. And so, you know, today, like I say, he's looked better again in training.
I was going to say, have you seen the positive signs of the partnership?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Scunthorpe then, what are you expecting from them this weekend?
Well, it's interesting because I played with Hursty at Rotherham. and obviously then followed his managerial career. What a fantastic job he did at Grimsby, bringing them back into the league, and then moving on to Shrewsbury, and what a wonderful job he did at Shrewsbury, and then gets the championship job, and in my opinion was harshly treated. To invested like he did, and the number of players that he brought in to then gel, and they were starting to get there, and he lost his job. I thought that was harsh on him, because he's shown that what a quality manager he is. He's obviously took over at Scunthorpe in the summer, similar to ourselves, had to do a massive rebuilding job, and so far, when you're tasked with that, you've got obviously players there that probably don't fit in with your plans, but they're tied to contracts, and you have to manage that. So he will be looking at this window, because it's obviously, like myself, it's the second window that you've had, and you try and just tweak your squad and affect your squad the best that you can, and they've got some good players, and it's going to be a good challenge for us, like I say. And at the start they didn't start off great, but I said at the time, I think when we played them, that they'll be fine because of what such a good manager he is.
And in terms of the January window, obviously Luke's coming through necessity.
Yeah.
Are you keen to add, or do you think with who's coming back you've got enough?
I think any manager up and down the country would say that they're always looking for that one. And there was one yesterday that popped out that you thought, wow, never thought that was going to happen. But at this moment in time, I don't think at this moment we will be bringing anybody in. Nobody's rang up or inquired about any of ours. Like say, the lads that are out on loan are doing ever so well. What if something materialises with them? Jackson did ever so well last week for Torquay. Amari's been doing well at Wrexham, and Sam there, and if they stay out and that creates a little bit of funds, then that might be something that we might be able to then bring somebody in.
Brilliant, thank you.
And you mentioned the injury to Richard.
Yes.
But obviously with the pitches the way they are and the number of games you've got coming up and you've just had, that's something I suppose you have to look at with all the players.
Yeah, exactly. We facilities in the league, and obviously training with the weather that we've had. We've lost one pitch this year because of the weather, and just cannot get on with it with the flooding. So the other pitch takes a bit of a hammering, and so you just have to adjust slightly and monitor modes. But it sounds like you've been involved in our meeting today, because that's exactly what I was saying to him. That we've got 5 more games coming up now in the space of 2 weeks, and it's going to need everybody, and just setting 1 or 2 people's expectations that they're not going to feature in all 5, because if they did or get close to featuring all 5, we're putting them at risk, and I don't think I'd ever do that unless it was a final.
And when talking to pitches after the last home game,
yes,
you said the pitch wasn't the greatest. Have you had a chance to have a look at it, having said it needed that rest? It needed that rest.
I've had a look, and it looks a little bit better, to be perfectly honest, and fair praise to the staff down there. So we are now doing our prayers, saying our prayers over the next 48 hours. There's no more rain.
Cheers.
You were saying, Gary, obviously about Luke McGee being used to being playing in front of big
fans.
I mean, that presumably is quite a big factor.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, certainly. It was when I was aware that he was available, that for any player really to be able to step into that environment and handle it is very important. But I think even more so, like you say, for a goalkeeper, and the fact that he's done it at Portsmouth. I think he played over 35 games last year for him. So. Was it last year or last year or the year before? So that's been that was paramount in me thinking a little bit as well.
And are you slightly surprised that a keeper with quite a bit of experience was sort of a third choice? So he's almost because presumably when you're looking around, a lot of them who might be available are probably younger lads or. Well,
that was like you say, that was the situation that we found ourselves in, is that you were either going to be, people were offering you goalkeepers that hadn't been out on loan yet, and it was their first loan, and they were 19 years of age. And like I say, we think a lot of George, so we think, well, you know, we've got one of that. It was
killed George a bit if you'd done
yeah,
that.
I think 100%. You know, but he understood when I spoke to him, and like I say, he'll learn off Luke. So you know, then like when he was available, and like I say, the experience, that was the main thing as well for us.
Obviously, that he comes in, as you say, into a run of, I think it's 3 weeks in 4. There's Tuesday night games. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a case of, you know, he's got to hit the ground running a little bit.
Yeah.
Presumably get to know the defence.
Yeah. Well, I know the goalkeeping coach down in Portsmouth, John Keeley, who you worked with at Blackburn. So I know exactly what will have been going on with all the goalies down there. But obviously you'll have 2 that feature on match day. But there was no way in the world that Luke would be sort of like, you know, just turning up and being cannon fodder. He'd have got worked by John, and when I spoke to him about Luke as well, he says, look, he's ready. He's no problem. He's ready. And you know, sometimes it works in the third choice's favour a little bit, because when the manager then wants to do his shape and his work, he pulls the 2 goalies over, which then leaves the goalkeeper to work with the goalkeeper coach one-on-one. And I think that's a lot what's happened this year, and so he's benefited from that. And like I say, the John Vaughan's worked with him this morning, and he was fine. He was no problem at all, and he's a good size, and he's loud and confident, and he's worked with the back 4 or 5 defenders today, and just gone through stuff with them, and you know, they straight away got a connection with him already.